So tell me about this record. How did this come about? What's the hook behind this, really?
Well, the hook behind the title, or the reason why you say, what the hell is Slippery When Wet? Originally the album was called Wanted Dead or Alive.
Right.
And it's the name of the ballad on the album. It's a song that we don't feel it'll be a single, but we think that it'll be a song that is going to get a lot of attention. So we felt that by titling the album that it would draw attention. Took some pictures. We flew a photographer up to shoot a cover, and from New York to Vancouver, and went through a whole lot of headaches and got this guy up there. And when we did, we were looking at the Polaroids one night in a strip bar. And it was in Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
The album. And we would frequent this place, and it was called the No.5 Orange. And in Vancouver, unlike in the States, the women completely strip naked and get in these plexiglass showers at the end of their set, which is usually 3 songs, and shower down to a ballad. Well, this is pretty interesting, and we sort of grew accustomed to
it's a nice lazy shower, is it?
Beautiful thing, right? Well, after, knowing a lot of the girls and meeting them, they would dance to our music. So, entertainment for what it's worth, we'd go there and watch our music being put to what the true value of it was, which is tits and hair, right? So we go to this place, and we're looking at the Polaroids, Richie and myself, and we were getting a little pissed and drinking away and thinking about, oh God, we just went through all this trouble flying this guy up, and how are we going to tell everyone we hate this cover? Just hate it. It was so posed that it was not at all what we wanted to be. And the idea for the front cover that I had seemed that everyone else hated it, and it was just we were fighting a losing battle. So she's vying for our attention in the meantime on the stage. And we're waiting for her to get done. We weren't paying attention.
Oh, dear.
We were drinking and looking at these pictures and basically discussing business. And we're sitting sort of like this, and she was over here. And we're going, oh, this is just, oh, God, this is just awful, oh, God. And she's doing everything short of banging on the plexiglass shower, right? So finally, it caught my eye, caught his eye, that she's in there just soaked up to make, Mr. Bubble happy, right?
Yeah.
And I says, my God, I bet she's wet, to make a conversation clean for tape here. And talking about it, one thing led to another, and we said, Slippery When Wet, oh yeah, those road signs, oh, wouldn't that be funny? And we should do this for the cover. And I says, you're right, that's what we should do for the cover. So we shot a makeshift plexiglass shower with a girl behind it, knowing that she had to have clothes on to hit the racks, especially in America. We put a T-shirt on her. And this girl, this one that we finally put on, it was from New Jersey, and from the beach. And
she was a model, was she?
No, she was. They brought models down, the same photographer. And these girls had an attitude and a half. I said, tell you what, why don't you get on the bus and go back to New York?
Yeah.
And we went right across the street from my house and went on the beach and said, would you like to be on our cover? Would you like to be on our cover? And
how amazing.
The girls said, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody came.
And they were up for it then, not like the
right
other.
Nobody wanted anything. And they just were ecstatic that they were going to do this. Well, one of them was very well endowed, and her name was Angela.
She's not the one who went into the video, is she, at all? No.
Nope.
Another well-endowed one.
Yeah, she's California. Right. But this Angela was something else, and Tico actually spotted her as she was lying on the beach. It's sort of the angle was right as she was lying there. Well, anyhow, she said yes. She comes and we shoot what is now, I believe, I hope here, our inner sleeve. I don't know if you've seen the album or not, but I believe that if you pull it out, there should be a shot of 2 cars.
I've just got a cassette that
the promotion thing. Well, there'll be 2 cars on the inner sleeve, and there's the 5 band members. I have a pair of shorts on. That's it. It's like, it was meant to be, we're not posing for you. There's no makeup. There's no hairspray. This is us on the beach having fun, and all the girls and us. And we're like laughing, and that was supposed to be the back cover to this plexiglass shower that was going to be the front cover. All right? So you see the bubbles coming down the window, the girl behind it with a washcloth, slippery when wet across her chest, and just when you're about to hear PMRC and nobody's going to ever rack this because it's too dirty, flip it over, and all it was us washing these two cars with these girls, right? Nothing but fun.
That's good. That's clever.
They said, forget it. We're not putting the cover.
Really?
Yeah. So that
Who
was
said that?
the PMRC, you know, the housewives and all this.
Have they got that power now?
Apparently.
Cool.
Polygram said to me, if you want to fight with them, take the risk of losing this certain 800 stores in the middle of America. And at 1,000 records a store, I'm not going to mess with almost 100, you know, with almost 1 million records in America. I said, forget it. I says, okay, I lose that cover. Then they say, listen, guys, you haven't ever had a nice, clean, color band picture, and if you'll do this, we'll sell more records. I said, I really don't want to do that, guys. I hate the idea of us being...
you don't like the star attitude, do
hate
you?
it.
Yeah.
Hate it. Absolutely despise it, right? So I says, okay, a record company, I'll take your picture for you. And we showed up with the holes in the jeans, just the way that we would dress on the street, right? Took a picture. They said, well, it's really nice, but could you do the same shot in a photo studio, do your hair up and wear the makeup and look like you're taking a picture, because this doesn't look like a front cover. It's fine, guys, we'll do it for you. Took a picture. I says, I just can't do this. I can't have this.
What upsets you about that?
I want, if somebody's writing an article about us, and please say that you wrote an article because you liked the song or because you liked the guys, not because they looked cute. That makes me nauseous, because we haven't sold as many records as an image-conscious band, granted. But on the other hand, we've sold 3 million records in 2 years because we've toured. And even the people that say, well, the records are almost there, said, well, but the live show, they really brought the point across. And that, you know,
that's to you.
To
that
me,
counts,
that's what matters. Tell me that I won like this sex symbol poll, and I go, yeah, great. Tell me that I won the songwriter poll, and I'm a happy guy.
What do you think about how important image is in pop at the
moment?
It's
very important. I mean, you know, that's what's made and broken careers. I mean, God, there's just a number of bands, I mean, from anyone who was image conscious, from Elvis on, you know, I mean, Elvis's sideburns, and the reason they said no was the reason that people listened to the guy, you know what I mean, down to Boy George was so wild that America went, wow, let's check this out, you know. So it happens all the time, and it would have helped us to be on the cover of 16 magazine, but one thing that we said from the day one was, please don't put us in 16 magazine. And the record company said, okay, we'll do it your way. Anyway, and getting back to the album cover, threw away now 4 album covers. They says, okay, look, we'll go for the tits. Printed up the tits. Sent me a Xerox of the tits. And the Xerox was with blue ink, so it looked like a light blue cover. So it says, picture looks great, all the words are correct, there's no mistakes, print them, right? They ended up that the cover was done with a hot pink border, and the back cover was hot pink, and I went, you know, I said, this can't go out. Ends up that the president of the company is really a good man. He ended up having to throw away 500,000 album covers in America. Threw them in the garbage.
Brilliant.
And the night before, it was already 1 o'clock in the morning. By 7 in the morning, if I didn't have a cover ready to go to the pressing plant, they would have to push it back 2 weeks until the next pressing. So that would have screwed up my Canadian tour, my Japanese tour, now this festival, and the reason for me being here. So this whole first leg of the tour would have been useless, not worth coming to do. So I had 6 hours to decide on something. The band was all sitting around flustered. I says, I'll tell you what, let's just say let the music do the talking. Here's a blank cover. And I says, we'll do a white album cover. He says, no, that's a little too plain. It'll look like a 12-inch. I says, okay, let's do a black album cover. They said it looked like Spinal Tap. And I says, okay, well, let's compromise here. I says, well, what is this album? It's wet. I Slippery When Wet. Fine. Do me the black album cover. I took a squirt bottle with the photographer. We squirted this thing down to make it look wet. He shot a picture of it. We decided that was it. I looked at it. It looked like outer space. Could have been anything. He says, try this. Took my fingers and I wrote Slippery When Wet on a wet piece of plastic. I said, that's the cover. It's, you know, it's 3 a.m. I'm going home. And that's it. You know, it doesn't jump off the shelves. But we shot 5 covers, you know. I mean, I hope it does $1 million for every cover I shot, you know. and that's all I can say at this point is that's it. It doesn't jump off the shelves, but let's take the attitude of let the music do the talking.
And what about the single that you're having the hit with here? Mm-hmm. How did that? What was behind that? Storyline, or what were you trying to get over?
Well, the title came up. You know, I mean, we were writing one day in Richie's basement, and one thing led to another, and it became, you know, You Give Love a Bad Name. And with a lot of our songs, we say, oh, let's write about this. Mm. With this, we said, let's write about it, but let's have fun. This doesn't particularly say, oh, God, you know, I went out with this girl and came home and there she was in bed, you know, God, you know, something like that. Mm. It was just meant, let's do this one almost tongue-in-cheek. Really? Something that everyone's going to be able to laugh about, you know, even if they go home, they can say to their old lady, you know, you give me a bad name, you know, like that kind of an attitude. So it was meant to be fun.
Was it anything that had happened to any of the band or anything?
No. I mean, typically it happens every night because, you know, when you're on the road, what happens in more cases than not is you know, you live for the girls that are going to show up backstage at the end of the show, you know, and
is that what keeps you going on the road a little bit?
I'll tell you, you know, I mean, like you just said when we came in here, oh, there's the topless girl, I jumped against the window, you know. Sometimes, you know, I mean, you need some sort of sport, and I don't really like to swim, you know. So definitely look forward to some sort of activity. Is it a question of you choosing them or them choosing you? Because someone once said, I can't remember what rock star it was, said that, you know, when you're a rock musician, let's say, sometimes you don't have the choice. You know, they pick you a lot. And I would say that it doesn't necessarily mean just because a girl comes backstage, you're going to get lucky enough to get laid tonight. I mean, it's certainly not the case. If she's it's her ball game, really. You know, I mean, I don't want to have to feel like I asked twice, kind of an attitude. You know, it's got to be sport. You know, if you're doing it and you're meeting somebody because it's just for fun, it's not because it's going to be the lasting relationship, and it's not, you know, because the truth of the matter is that we're leaving tomorrow.
Do people think? Do any girls think? So tell me this. I mean, what goes in their mind? Do they think it's a one-night stand, or if it's a lasting relationship, or do you still ever keep in contact with any of them? Or you do?
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Nice.
I've had.
So you're not a total.
No.
I didn't think so.
No, we've ended. In fact, last year I met a girl in Paris, brought her all through Europe, and saw her while I was recording the album in Vancouver because ends up she lives there now, and had another one who was a stewardess who just. But what more important than you know meet a girl backstage kind of attitude is they become friends. Oh no, absolutely. I make a lot of friends that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great. And how do you meet them? And do they just hang around backstage, or do you see them in the show, or?
I met the girl in Paris in a pizza parlor, you know.
Oh, really? So it's not necessarily to do with you being...
not backstage, you know, getting my attention or my getting her attention. Or not at all.
Are you good at chatting up?
Not at all.
You're not? Worse. What do? You just sit there?
I just go, hi. You know, and from there it's their game.
Enough, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not really... I never was good at picking up...
really?
Picking up drugs, you know.
And what about the girl who's in this video then? Who's in the video? What were you going to say about
the girl in the front row?
No,
she was just very well endowed, you know. But she fought her way up to the front and deserved to be there, I guess you'd say.
That's it, yeah.
Women, you know.
Right. And what about kind of other things that the next few months holds for you? What are you doing? What are the plans now? Just steadily promoting the album and things, really?
Yeah, just really touring. I mean, the idea was we started...
You tour a hell of a lot, don't you?
Yeah, we started this tour a good 4 to 6 weeks before the release of the album. So that's usually, unheard of. Went to Japan and did the first few shows without an album, and it came out in the second week that we were there, and now, the album's not even out here yet, is it? That's right, it doesn't come out till Friday. But the single is what's selling and doing so well.
Were you surprised that you're doing well in Britain?
I'm very surprised, very surprised.
Did what was the problem with the British market? Is there a problem that you can see?
I don't know what radio is here, so
Not
it's hard
very
for
good.
me to say. Yeah, well...
There's only one radio station, I mean, that's
to get
crazy
on that
as you may see.
could be... I don't think it could be any harder, apparently.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, you've got 2 or 3 stations in every city that can play the record. So there's just literally hundreds, I mean, if you have 150 ads on your radio, on a single, you go, oh, geez, it's average.
Yeah.
Where here it's 1.
Yeah. Let me just see. Are there standout moments for you in your career when you look back and things?
Of course. This is quite a milestone. I hope and pray and knock on wood that tomorrow we're going to get Top of the Pops. That's really a big one. The Budokan was the great...
When was that? When did you do that?
2 weeks ago.
Oh.
I think it's 18.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago we did the Budokan.
What was that like? Tell me about that.
That was a great thrill. I mean, the first time I ever heard of this place, the Budokan, was Cheap Trick doing their Live from the Budokan album. So it was really funny. At Soundcheck, I went up on stage and I went, I want you to want me. Just like Robin Zander did, I found that to be pretty humorous. It's just another arena, but it's
got invested with
you know what I mean? It's like doing Wembley, Madison Square Garden, and the Forum.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 places in the world that are the names, in your head. So to go to Budokan and to headline, it was quite a big thing for us.
And the Japanese are still absolutely crazy about you everywhere.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're a great audience that you don't take for granted, that you really have to learn to appreciate.
You don't take them for granted.
Not at all. No, because they're not there to be taken for granted, because they can leave you as quick as they can
Really?
find you. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's not a question that because you're so popular there you can do...
No. You have to keep earning their respect year after year, and I really...
They don't want to be taken for a ride, obviously.
It's nice. It's not what I thought at first.
Yeah.
And just because we were accepted so quick there, I thought, oh, this is great. The fact is that you have to earn your wings, just like anywhere else, and it's good for us.
Yeah. Tell me what you like to do outside of music. What kind of things do you get up to? I mean, obviously, it's an important part. Is there something that you really enjoy doing when you've got some time off? Or
I love the beach.
You do?
Yeah, I got an apartment down on the
Where are you?
Beach.
Are you New Jersey? Yeah.
And I love cars.
So you got an apartment on the beach, so you kind of hang out there most of the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you like getting a tan and things, or?
Well, it's.
Well, you don't like
my
swimming.
friends,
You don't
they
like
say
a
to
tan.
me, "You're crazy." They say, you got this place on the beach now, and you spend all this money to get it, and you finally get it, and you were there for a week, and you laid on the beach for 3 days because, it's like if I don't have a phone there or something to do, I just go like. That's
you like
great.
to do things,
but I do love to look out and see that ocean. I dig the beach. To me, it's a whole attitude.
Is it crowded, the beach where you are?
On the weekends, it can get crowded,
but that's fun as well. Is it or not?
Well, so at first I would have to go, and you got a hat on and sunglasses because there's all the kids were running around, and like I would never go down to the boardwalk and think that I could walk the boardwalk. Attitude, but after being there for a little while, it got beyond the idea that the kids just said, well, John's here. Then it just went to like, so when's the record coming out? Not, because I don't like when they do that. I'm not used to that. Because it's like, man, I'm just like another kid next door that plays in the same old garage bands that I did 5 years ago.
Is it hard for you to keep that attitude, though?
No, not at all. No, it's definitely not hard for us to keep that attitude. We enjoy that more than anything. And
don't you get big-headed, though, with the, you know?
No. The thrills to me are the smallest, most simple things. Somebody had said, because I just was talking with somebody before, and they said they heard about that I had played with Southside Johnny and the Jukes. Yeah. Well, I did this show with them July the 5th, this past summer. On the 4th of July, I was asked by Willie Nelson to fly down to Texas and play in Farm Aid 2. So the band played in Farm Aid 1, but he asked me to play Farm Aid 2. Sure, Willie. Who am I going to play with? He says, with me. I said, oh, shit, right? So we're doing this Suspicious Minds, the old Elvis Presley.
Yeah, it's a lovely
stuff,
song,
right?
Yeah.
Then we bring out Joe Walsh, and we do Rocky Mountain Way.
Yeah.
And in the third song, Vince Neil came out, and we did something with him. And then later on, he'd said, well, would you like to come out and sing with me and Chris Christopherson later tonight? And I'm going like, somebody wake me up, man. This is a
So
dream,
you still have
right?
idols as well, huh?
Oh, every day. You know, I mean, I don't even know what to say to people when I meet them because I'm in such awe. Well, the next day, I went home to Jersey, and even a greater thrill in all those people because of how big they are celebrity-wise was I got a chance to play with one of my boyhood idols, which was Southside Johnny. And Johnny says, you know, I'm playing the Arts Center. Why don't you come? And I did, and I took Doc, our manager, because we'd just flown back from Texas. I said, you should come and see where I write from. Come and see where my roots are. And he says, sure, and he comes to see it. And Johnny says, you know, why don't you play? And I got up like in front of the 5,000 kids in the middle of the audience, walked down the aisle, jumped up on the stage, and I played with the Jukes for the rest of the set. And to me, I was just like, my heart's going, and and I got this big old straw hat on, and he goes, look at you look like a cowboy. And he took my hat that I paid $10 for, you know, and he winged it in the audience, and I was like, you bastard, you know, it's my $10 hat, what are you doing? So that's to me is like the coolest thing, you know, and just to go to the shows and to be able to play with somebody like that.
Sure. And what about your cars? You were mentioning cars as well. You mentioned the beach, the cars. What cars do you like? What cars have you got?
Well,
were you after something in particular?
I was in Vancouver and saw my first 1958 Corvette. I said, God, I love that car. So anybody ever sees one, let me know. I'll buy one. And so Doc calls me up about 4 days later, and he says, I put it down a deposit for you. And I went, you what, you know? And so I pretty much was almost forced to buy this car sight unseen because he had gone to such great extents. I thought that, oh God, what if I don't like it? Ended up that I loved it.
What is it? What color is it?
It's black, and it was like the winner of all the California car shows, and it was a California car that had never been out of the state.
Oh.
It was beautiful, and so I had that shipped home. But otherwise, I have a 69 Corvette that's a convertible, and it's beat to hell, and it's cool, and it's got a great stereo, and you turn it up.
That's enough, really.
And a 78 Datsun 280Z, which is the first nice car that I've ever bought, like, after I got a record deal.
Oh, so that's sentimental value, is it?
That was like, that's the Z car, you know?
Yeah.
That's what everybody did when we got signed. Everybody wanted a car that didn't cost $100, you know? And it didn't cost a lot of money, but it's very, you know, it meant that much.
Yeah, sure.
And now it's starting to rust. I think I'm going to have to sell it now because it's really not worth a hell of a lot. But
And what about rings and things? I know you got. Is that something you collect, or is it something you?
I never wore jewelry in my life. Actually, this is from an old girlfriend, and this is from Alec. I got this for Christmas, and this is from an old girlfriend because they just, you know, they said, well, what are we going to buy you? You wouldn't wear anything.
How many pieces of jewelry do you have?
1, 2, 3.
This is a polite way of asking you how many old girlfriends you've got.
2 pieces of jewelry and 3 rings, and one's from my bass player, you know.
And you're not going steady with him at the moment?
No. Definitely not going steady with him, you know. I mean, they're presents usually from people. I've never gone into a store and bought a ring.
No.
They're all presents, and as far as this is a present, and this was a present, and this was a present.
Yeah.
So that's it. They're all presents. Actually, I never bought a piece of this junk by myself.
Yeah.
That was the extent of it. You know, I'm not a jewelry buff. I'm not a big clothes buff. You know, I mean, I just a pair of jeans and sneakers.
You like that? That's I feel really good in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've never gone to those. I talked to a girl from a paper. She goes, "Oh, you're going to go to the Limelight?" So what's that? And there's a Limelight in
New York. Sure, there is a big one. I
don't go to those places. I went to the Palladium one time because it was we were all in town together with us and Rat and Motley because
you had to go out somewhere.
It was a wedding. We were at a wedding, and we all said, "Well, Christ, we're all dressed up. Let's go somewhere, right?" So we went there, and ended up Prince was there, and it was his party and a big deal. And I said, "Wow, this is wild." And I looked around, and I says, "This is my once a year. I would never, ever do this."
What don't you like about it?
I would never walk into a place with like this and go, "Well, we're here. Let's go to the," because the girl on the phone said, "Well, they have a private room and you can go into." I said, "That's bullshit. I go down to the local bar and have a shot and a beer with the road crew and the band because that's where we're most comfortable."
Yeah.
That's where.
I suppose it's true that a lot of people who become stars forget their roots, don't they? Or not so much forget it, but they want something else, and then they find they're not really comfortable in those other things, because they're lying to themselves. Really,
I don't know. It's not where we're from.
Yeah.
That's it. We. It's like you got a pair of Levi's and a T-shirt, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this year we got an old abandoned store in Asbury Park to rehearse a tour. Not, nobody. They said, "Well, go to New York and go to the, the studio instrument rental, SIR it's called, and it's like ridiculous sums of money, and rehearse there and stay in this hotel." And I said, "What? Kiss my ass! I'm going to Asbury Park. Come here. I'm going to the beach every day and I rehearse at night." Yeah. No way. We don't do it. Yeah. It's not our,
You told me about the best things, the kind of things that you really enjoyed, the Budokan and various things like that. What about bad times? Have there been any kind of low times for you? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's got to pay their dues.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it the struggle to get there, or have there been times since you've been successful that
both?
Yeah.
Getting there was harder than fuck. Sleeping on the floor and. The band. I didn't have the band together. It was just me writing songs, and I got paid $50 a week and had to believe in me when nobody would even open the doors.
Who was paying you $50 a week?
A recording studio.
That's
in New
who
York.
You worked for before, yeah.
And
I. So what did you do? Sleep on the floor and things?
Yeah, I got. They had a Castro convertible couch, and you pull the mattress on the floor, and that was it. And got paid $50 a week for a year and a half, and used the guy's car if I had to go somewhere, and believed in something, I mean, ended up signing my life away, and I'm still paying it off, It's just these things that
in
you
what way?
To do
what way are you still
financially as well as
But
mentally.
You make a lot of money now.
No, I don't make a lot of money. You don't. A lot of the illusion with any band, regardless of who you are, is it's not as peaches and cream as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's certainly not. Whatever you think it is, cut that down to about 40% of it. You know what I mean? It's by the time you give it all away to everyone from here down, and however many people ghosts you got in the closet, nobody makes the money that you think you have.
Yeah.
And it takes years to get it, even after you make it.
Sure. So. Is it? Yeah. I mean, is that in a way, the minute someone becomes successful, there's a host of people around them. Is that how you feel as well? That people that perhaps you can't have anything have any say in it in a way.
No, you can't. Yeah, I understand what you mean. In our case,
it's like that Elvis quote, isn't it? John Lennon said about Elvis, "The courtiers killed the king."
Absolutely.
That the people swarm around him.
I'll tell you, with Elvis in particular, I've read a lot of books. And just finished actually the one that his wife wrote. Because I'm so interested in the man and realizing that all he ever wanted to do was jam. This guy he would sing to her. He would sing in his living room. He would sing at dinner. All he wanted to do was sing. And that was the reason why his voice stayed so good, even with the drugs and what have you. But so many people controlled his life that it got to a point where he couldn't leave Graceland. And even as a young kid, when he got the success and never got the beating, he just got the success, he lived in that world of being closed in like the boy in the bubble, and it killed him. So with our case, thank God, our first record didn't sell 5 million, and then the second one 10. You know, I'm glad that it did what it did, and then the second one did more, and then this one's doing. So now this one's starting to happen. So I can appreciate when you're the opening act and you get fucked and you get sign this paper and you get it, because then you learn more about what you're doing. You know,
and you're on the ball
to get into our circle, band crew wise. Even as far as, you know, when you have to meet your record company, you don't get into the circle until you've really been sussed out.